Okay, we're going to talk about Bloodborne now.
Okay.
So they showed a bunch of new gameplay footage at Gamescom.
Yeah.
We want to take a look at it again because it looks really good. What do you guys think? What do you guys make of this game?
You know, well, I mean, Dark Souls. I mean, Dark Souls is my favorite game of the generation we have just climbed out of, and
we've clawed our way free of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 3. No, we have. We're still there.
But you know, look, it's true. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And I see some comments on the video and on the stuff saying, you know, it's just Dark Souls, blah blah blah. And I don't know that necessarily has to be a bad thing. You know.
I don't know.
So I really like the way it looks. I really love the art style. I mean, it doesn't. When I look at it, it looks like okay. So it plays a little bit like, you know, somewhat like Dark Souls. It uses some of the same basic mechanics, but this world doesn't really look like it feels like Dark Souls, and that's a big part of the Dark Souls experience is the feel. So now you've got Bloodborne, and it looks like this Victorian era, you know, Jack the Ripper type atmosphere.
So you're talking
really
specifically
different.
about the environmental design, because I look at this and it looks like the movement, it looks like, you know, the UI, like the enemies, sort of the spacing, the lighting. It feels very much like a Dark Souls, and it's from you know, From Software is one of the developers on it. I think they're working with another team that is escaping my brainium right now. But you're right, this is not a world like this is a very distinct environment.
Yeah. They showed, you know, crowds of like enemies walking around. They seem to be doing like their own thing. Like, I mean, I actually never played really Dark Souls, but if there's anything I would say about that is bosses seem pretty, I don't know, generic a little bit as compared to like bosses here, where, you know, they're moving around. They're, you know.
Well, I guess we're like 3 into the Souls series, as it were. So, you know, it's, I guess the thing that will always pop out is the change of environment. Have they touched on like how much technology is going to play a part here? Because obviously, like weapons, like guns, ranged weapons, that like changes up the combat quite a lot. We're seeing a lot of hand-on-hand here, or like melee fighting. Have they talked, or have you seen anything, Kevin, that like makes it look different in terms of?
Well, they've talked
combat?
about how you're going to replenish health if you're more aggressive. Okay. Like if you really get in there and start chopping up enemies in combo land, then you're gonna be able to start like earning health by doing that. And I think the intention is to get you to focus on a more aggressive style of play than maybe Dark Souls would offer. That will be interesting for me because as a, you know, I go into Dark Souls stamina heavy. Like I'm all about taking as many hits as I can before I can get in my own, you know, my own chance. So I'm kind of curious.
You want to be able to block.
Yeah. So I'm curious. Is this gonna have me a little more active? Is this gonna have me having to be a little more agile? I don't know. But then you look at stuff like that and it's like, oh, he rolls the same way. Oh, you know, he moves the same way, attacks the same way. Cloth moves the same way. So, and of course I look at that bit, there's a bit where he picks up the torch in the darkness and it looks like, oh, you need the torch for the darkness. But we heard that already about Dark Souls 2, and that didn't really come to fruition.
Look at that dude.
But the enemy design is so good!
Are they going to have guns as well?
I hope.
Enemies? Will you have guns
as
or rocket
opposed
launchers?
to just like a brick? This guy has.
When you're as big as that dude, all you need is a brick.
All you need is a
you
brick.
Just grab his junk.
Whoop. Oh, he knocked him on his butt.
We can only hope.
When's this bad boy out again? Sometime 2015?
So that's an interesting move too, the leap in and the jump.
Kevin doesn't care.
Oh right, yeah, 2015. I'm sorry, I'm watching the footage. I'm watching the footage.
Oh yeah, the old giant axe spin attack. So yeah, certainly, you know, creature design, always a strength of the Dark Souls, or of the Souls series. That seems to be represented here
Souls
quite
genre
well.
Now.
Right?
It really is.
Well, you know. I mean, I feel like we have to have a few more imitators, but I don't know. We had one. We have imitators now.
Wet.
So yeah.
You put wet in there as well.
Wet.
Wet.
Yeah. That is definitely the most Soulsian game.
I'm sorry, we just haven't talked about it. I don't think anyone's mentioned that game in a bit.
Well, we've got that other game that looks very Soulsy coming up, and now I suddenly forgot the name of it.
It's called Wet 2.
No.
Wetter.
Blade something.
Wet Harder.
Somebody out there knows what I'm talking
Wet
about.
Blade.
I've suddenly forgotten the name of the.
Hellblade.
It's not wet.
It's not
no,
Hellblade.
it's not Hellblade.
All right.
But it's not wet.
I am looking forward to Hellblade though, because Ninja Theory. Thumbs up.
I'm looking forward to them renaming that Heavenly Sword 2.
They've come right out and said it's not Heavenly
I know,
Sword 2.
I know.
Enslavedly sworded.
No, that's actually. I like the fact that they're not lying. They're not resting on their old IPs for a little bit of marketing hype.
All right, that's a look at Bloodborne in action, folks.